Hello Commanders, Cmdr Plater back again with another exploration update. So I thought I'd give you a quick look at how I actually pick my routes. I literally go into the galaxy map, I look at the system I'm in, I then either move the galactic plane up and down just so I can see where I am, I scroll around about 1,000 light years ahead, select the next target, set my route, and off I go. And it really is as simple as that. 1,000 light years typically is about the maximum you can go, just so you know. Now, first up today, I've got twin Waterworlds. As you can see them here, they're an interesting pair, considering they're actually technically identical, according to the system map anyway. They are both argon-rich atmospheres, and they're both completely featureless water worlds. Very odd. You see the first one here, this one's slightly closer to the parent star at its current orbit, so I think they orbit each other, or at least I think that's what it means in the galaxy map. So as you can see, my golden asp just gently flying by there. We're far enough away from the parent star that it's actually quite dark out here, which is kind of odd. It's only about 400-500 light years away. And here's the second one, which is this very odd kind of turquoisey colour, but again an identical atmosphere and composition. Apparently both of them do have water-based life or carbon-based life, which is interesting, and this one actually does have a polar ice cap. Pretty interesting to come across these. This was like the first system I jumped into on this session's worth of exploring this week. And you guys will be pleased to know that something does happen in this episode that I've been waiting for now what works out to be 10,500 light years, which is good news. Okay, and here we have another water world. This one's a little bit more featured than the last two. It's just a real stark contrast of how different things can be in the galaxy, I guess. Is this one here, you can actually see the weather systems, movement. You could imagine it being a real stormy planet, lots of stuff going on. You've got your polar ice caps, you can see weather systems, your actual storms, you can see from the spirals on the planet, and all that kind of stuff. As well as some actual kind of variation as well, so you can almost imagine it would just be like being at the North Pole or the South Pole almost all the time. Definitely an interesting one. And this is on the following system I went to after that one. And finally, it happened. This is it. My first Earth-like planet. I can't believe it. It's finally happened. After complaining about it last week, it's here. This is it. This is my first one. And it's strange because you assume Earth-likes are going to have large land masses like we do, but a lot of them don't. I mean, obviously it's a procedural generation thing. But the land is all kind of split up, and it's like archipelagos, which you could assume at some point during their past they've had volcanic activity, and the island chains are spread out through tectonic activity and all that kind of stuff. Which it's a real interesting thought that something could exist that could be so similar to our world, but so different at the same time. But yeah, I really I spent a lot of my exploring time just circling this place, being overexcited. As you can I'm sure you guys can understand, it's a new thing I've not seen before in the game. Obviously I've seen Earth-likes around terraformed planets in populated systems, but this is my first one that I found unpopulated, which is definitely a cool thing. Now, the way that I find or decide which planets I'm going to scan in the system, because there's no way you can scan every single planet in every single system you visit and enjoy the experience, I guess, is as soon as I arrive in a system, I hit the scanner, I then check the system map to see how many different planetary bodies are out there, pick what I'm going to go and scan based on how it looks. So if something is clearly a rocky or an icy planet, I'm probably going to give it a skip. If something looks a little bit like this planet, for example, looks potentially to be the Waterworld or a high metal content world like this one, which is really obvious, I'm like, okay, cool, we'll go check it out. go and have a scan, and maybe do some flyby footage, because they generally are the most interesting ones. I'm sure I'm missing out on a lot of things. I've seen some people out there who've come across some procedurally generated mistakes, I guess they've said, and I mean, yeah, they are the interesting things, where you see craters that are actually inverted and all that kind of weird stuff. But for me, it's the idea of these really strange, abstract worlds, like this one, for example, where you look at it and it just could be hell. If you were to say, I wonder what hell would look like, it would look like this planet. It's worth pointing out that these two planets that you're seeing here back to back are actually different planets, but in almost identical circumstances. And had our solar system been younger, we may have seen something similar in our solar system. But certainly, I'm always on the lookout for the terraforming candidates, and I do think that if you are looking to make money from exploring, then this is probably going to be the best way to do it. Obviously not the most particularly interesting and quite methodical, but certainly you're going to maximise the things that you see that are going to be the most interesting, I guess, because that's what we're interested in. The idea of finding a inhabited planet, or with the talks in update 2, at some point it looks like alien activity might be coming in, which is really, really exciting. And obviously it's not 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, but somewhere in there we should eventually see alien activity, which is incredible. And that's going to open up all kinds of opportunities. That there may be a planet you come across which is actually an inhabited star system from a potentially hostile alien faction. You may have the option of starting out and opening up diplomatic relationships with them. Or the opportunity to have new ships, new alien ships with different weapons that you've never seen before. All that type of thing. Really, really exciting what could be coming up. But back onto the planets that we're seeing here. So, again, Waterworlds everywhere. Not a single bit of land on them, though. Certainly, I've seen some interesting things. I don't normally kind of look at gas giants or anything like that unless it's something really interesting and visually stunning on the system map, which I know I could be actually doing myself out of some interesting sites. But here we go. It's another water world, another stormy, polar ice capped water world. This one again is, this has got a nitrogen rich atmosphere, a really good candidate for terraforming, and that means I'm going to get some decent credits for it when I get back to the bubble. Now, what we have here is my second Earth-like world that I found, and it's more realistic because it's stabilised by a moon this time. And as we know, for a consistent orbit, a moon or a planetary body is required to stabilise an orbit of a planet, which is one of the reasons why Earth's orbit is so stable and consistent. Now, this one again is that kind of broken up by islands, a real mixture of land and sea on there, and you could just imagine some pioneers standing there on an island looking out across an unknown ocean, wondering what's going to happen next. But over into another water planet. So many of these, so many water planets. They seem to be really, really common in the systems I'm flying through now. I have actually been in completely unexplored space now for a few days, and I haven't seen anyone's name on anything. So when I get back to the bubble, all this is going to be mine. My name's going to be all over it. Now, I've worked my way from the Trifid Nebula, and I'm working towards another nebula, which is essentially just a random bunch of letters and numbers and names and stuff. But if you check out my previous video, I do actually mention where I am as well in the comments, so do have a look at that if you haven't already. Now, here we have some nice little footage of that previous water world. The polar ice cap is huge, but only on one side, which you'd think that means that the way its orbit is that it's partially tidally locked. So one side is always slightly closer to the sun, and one side is always slightly further away, even when it's rotating on its axis, which means that you'd have that build-up of ice on only one half of it. Which again, we've got the way the Earth is, top and bottom, very, very cold. This is a very unusual system that I found here, and this one is, it's a blue-white star surrounded by a bunch of other stars, which is really odd. All of them are T-Tauri stars, so they're, I guess, an odd piece of procedural generation there. Now, as I already mentioned, that I don't normally scan or go and investigate gas giants anymore, unless they're particularly close to the nav point when you drop it, or not the nav point, the arrival point. But this one I just kind of had to have a look at because I hadn't seen like a completely crimson gas giant before, so I thought it was worth a look at. But certainly a really nice looking planet system. Okay, so this is an idea of where I am, how far out now. I guess I'm kind of about midway. This also isn't 100% accurate there, so it's about 11,000 light years out. Now, what I am actually is I'm working my way further still. So where this is here, I'm probably now around about 13,000 light years, so I'm almost in the middle. So I'm at that point, I'm finally almost closer to Sagittarius A, which is where I'm heading to, than I am where I started. So it kind of means I have to carry on. I thought I might be able to be back in time for the update, which is only tomorrow now. That's not going to happen. But I can certainly keep pushing forward, and by the time I get back, hopefully Frontier will have managed to iron out all of the kinks and fixed all of those imbalances that everyone's going to be complaining about to do with thermal weapons and all those other boosts and the engineers and all that kind of stuff. So it certainly is pretty interesting stuff so far. Now, originally when making this video I thought that is where I was going to stop, but then this happened, a third Earth-like, and this one has a little bit more concentrated land masses, but again it's just a huge mixture, completely different. You look at it and you know, oh wow, that's an Earth-like, but it's so completely different from our planet in the way it's made up. It's insane to think about. But once again, guys, I just want to thank you for watching. I hope you're finding this interesting. I've had some really great comments from people out there. And remember, guys, you can add me in game if you want. I can give you a bit of an update, give you some advice as you go, because there's a lot of basics out there for Elite Dangerous that people aren't told. But once again, thank you for watching. This is Cmdr Plater. And remember, like, share, subscribe for more stuff, guys, and I'll see you next time.